This time at the Quick Speed Shop, I'm going to go through the steps on changing the thermostat in the 4-cylinder in the Chevrolet S10 truck. What we got here is a 2.2 liter 4-cylinder. The upper radiator hose comes around and crosses over. There's a water neck down here. And my symptoms I have that I think the thermostat is bad is, number one, I lost all my heat, but the radiator is full and the overflow tank is full. And number two, the gauge used to read at 195, now it's reading about 160. So the thermostat opens and closes and modulates the water temperature in the engine, and I think the spring has failed, so the thermostat is wide open and just continually circling cold coolant through the engine. It's warmed up today. It's winter time. It was 0 degrees last week. Today's about 45, but I still have no temperature, no heat whatsoever, but everything is full. So I believe that the thermostat has failed. So what we're going to do is pull this apart, pull the water neck off, and put a new thermostat in it. Alright, so the first thing I got to do is remove this air box assembly here. Alright, so I'm going to disconnect the hose clamps here on the air box. Now there's two tabs here. I'm going to push down, get a pair of side cutters under here and pull these up. I think, yep, pull them out of there. Just like pulling a tooth. Bam. Alright. I gotta take this piece off, which I believe is 10 millimeter. There's one more screw back there. There's an air line back here, a hose. Got a hose back here for the breather for the intake, or the valve cover breather. Now we can see here's the water neck where the thermostat is. So there's two 10 millimeter bolts to hold this on. Here's the hose, radiator hose. I would get a new hose, but it's a Sunday here, it's Super Bowl Sunday, and nobody's got one in stock. And this hose appears to be all right. It's original hose, 2/10/98 date on it, but I'm just going to go ahead and put a new thermostat in this. So I'm going to have to drain the coolant. There's a drain that you can't see over here on the bottom of the radiator. I'm just going to crack that open, and there's a hose that hangs out the bottom. I'm going to drain some antifreeze out into a pan here. Alright, so I only drained a little bit of water out of the antifreeze, out of the radiator. I just got down about 6 inches, which gets me below the top of the radiator over here with the radiator hose. Now over here on the water neck, I'm going to get this sensor out of the way just to get it out of the way for now. I guess I didn't need to take this air box off because I thought I had to remove this coolant pipe, but I don't have to do that. But it's out of the way, so it's easy to work on it here. So this original GM clamp on this hose, if I was going to replace this hose, I'd put 2 new clamps on here. But since I'm just going to reuse it now, I'm not going to actually take the hose off the water neck. I'm just going to unbolt the water neck here from the housing with 2 10 millimeter bolts, and it should lift right up out of the way. The front of the housing should come right off. Alright, we're going to get a little bit of leaking coolant here. Fortunately, it got on the serpentine belt, so hopefully that won't squeal. Alright, I got both the bolts out. Here's the housing. The thermostat is in here. It comes with a rubber gasket on it, which I got. So here's the thermostat here. Here's our brand new thermostat. It's a CarQuest thermostat. Here's the number for it. And here's the unit here. 195 degree thermostat. It's a motor rad unit. Compared to the original one, it's got a little bit different spring. Where are you? It's got a 3-coil spring instead of a 2-coil spring. So I'm just going to take the new one and put the rubber seal on the new thermostat. I'm going to place the thermostat back in the housing. The spring always goes into the engine. It just sits in there like so. And here on the water neck, there doesn't appear to be any gasket, but there's a little bit of corrosion here on this, so I'm going to get a little bit of sandpaper and clean this up. A little bit of fine sandpaper. Right now the housing's cleaned up. I'm just going to go ahead and stick it back on here. Oh, got a little bit of coolant coming out. You want to be careful when you're tightening this down to make sure you look at the housing to make sure the thermostat hasn't moved. You don't pinch it between the housing because you'll crack it when you snug it down tight if it's not squarely seated in there. This one's seated in tight. On older style engines, there's a gasket like this which would go on the water deck housing, but this one uses the seal on the thermostat to seal the whole housing itself, so that's not needed. So that's it for the installation of the thermostat. I'm going to get a little bit of water and rinse the serpentine belt off to try to get the coolant off the serpentine belt so it doesn't cause it to squeal. Then I'm going to put this back together and we'll fill up the radiator and run the engine and see how it works. Alright, now we're going to mix up the antifreeze. I've got a Dexcool coolant because this truck uses the orange GM Dexcool coolant. I've put some water in this jug. It's about half a gallon. I'm going to go ahead and mix 50-50 mixed here. That's about 50-50. Don't drink it. It looks like orange Kool-Aid. Don't drink it. I'm just going to go ahead and pour some into the radiator. Oop. Puke some onto the ground, apparently. Okay, on a vehicle, a new style cooling system like this, I fill the radiator up as high as I can go. I can put some more into the overflow tank, which has a cold and hot level on it. We didn't lose that much out of the engine. If I drained the whole radiator, obviously it would take a lot more than this, but since I only took a little bit out, it's not taking much to fill it in. I'm going to top off the overflow tank up to the full cold line. Then I'm going to run the engine and see if it sucks any out of the tank back in here, and I'll check the level again when it's done, and if it's low, I'll put some more in the tank. Because if the radiator gets low, it sucks out of the overflow tank into the radiator through the hose here. So I'm going to fill it up to the cold mark here, which you probably can't see over there. Right about there. Put the radiator cap back on here. And start the engine and let it warm up. Alright, so after a test drive, the temperature is good. It's gone down to about 190 now, but it goes up to about 195, which is 2 clicks before the 210 here. And then the thermostat opens and it goes back down to about 190. And then it warms back up, but it's idling here about 190 right now. The gauge is a little off here and there, but that was the problem. The heat also blows nice. I got all my heat back. I got real hot defrost now. This truck will burn you right out of it. So I think we fixed it. It should be good now with the new thermostat. It seems to be working fine, and I should be able to modulate the level of the fluid better, of the antifreeze better. What I'm going to do is get some more Dexcool antifreeze. I'm going to flush the system, just put fresh antifreeze in it, because it was looking kind of nasty when it came out. It's got about 50,000 miles on it, and it's probably due to be flushed. If you got an old junk S10 like this, I hope this helped out. This is a 2.2 liter, 4-cylinder bog monster. So as always, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I'm going to put a circle where over here, right on the far side of the screen. Go ahead and hit that. I'm putting out new videos every Wednesday and Saturday. So like, share, and subscribe. And as always, we'll see you again at the Quick Speed Shop.